Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse 23. So we read how Prahlad Maharaj, he was asked by his father Hiranyakashipu what is the best thing he has learned from his guru. So he had two gurus, one is Narada, another is Sukracharya's son. So he does not consider this Sukracharya's son his guru but Narada, so he told what he has learned from his guru Narada. In two slokas he spoke the essence and says that this is the best education. Anybody who knows this, he is educated or she is educated. One who does not know this, they are illiterate. That's his conclusion. So if you want to be known as educated, please memorize these slokas, at least one of them. Sravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Bandhanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam Iti Punsharpita Vishnu Bhaktischennav Lakshina Kriyate Bhagavati Yadha Manne Tadadhitam Uttamam. So he says that I consider that person as well educated, or that person has the best education. Other people have also education but lower type of education. Adhitam Uttamam. Uttamam means the best, the topmost, supreme education. I consider, this is his definite opinion. He has no doubt, maybe, maybe not. He is sure, certain. So what is that? He says that if a person performs bhakti, and bhakti can be performed to different deities, but bhakti to Krishna, because he is Bhagavan. No one else is Bhagavan, because Bhagavan means the Supreme Person, Supreme God, and God is only one. So there has to be one. So he is the Supreme God, and if one performs devotion, loving devotion to him, then he is educated. And if one is doing something else, then he says, I don't know what is he. So he says, Iti Punsharpita Vishnu Bhaktischennav Lakshana, and this bhakti he says is of 9 types. It starts from hearing. The first step is Sravanam. Because everything in our life begins by hearing. If you are here, because you heard about us from somewhere, right? Otherwise you will not be here. So it begins with hearing. And once you hear, if you like it, then you do kirtan. Right? You sing songs about it. If you don't like, then also you do kirtan. Then you criticize. Right? People do two things. If they like what they have heard, then they speak about it to others. If they don't like it, then also they speak about it to others. So that is called kirtan. And then third is smaran. You remember also, if you like something, you remember that. If you don't like that, also you remember. So here, of course, this is in relationship with Krishna. So therefore it says Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. Pada Sevanam, doing some seva. If you live in an ashram, you do some service. Then Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam, these are higher types. So these 4 are good enough to begin with. So Jiva Goswami, he has written a very nice commentary on this. We will read that. He says Shravanamiti Yugmakam. Say that these two slokas, they go together. These two slokas, they make one sentence. Because in the first sentence there is no verb, and without verb there cannot be sentence. So he says first is Shravana. So hearing is very important part of our life, because most of knowledge we acquire by hearing. Even if you see something, you have to hear what it is. If I show you this, and if I don't tell you what it is, then you may see but you will not know what it is. If you have never seen this before and nobody has told you, so you have to hear. So therefore he says that this is the first one. So what you have to hear, he describes it. Yes, Shravanam, Nama, Rupa, Guna, Parikara, Leela, Maya, Shabdanam, Stokya, Sparsa. So he says there are 5 things to be heard, because this hearing is in relationship with Krishna. So you hear his name, because he has name, he has many names. And then you hear about his form. He is a person, he has a form also. And because he is a person, he also has qualities, guna. So you come to know about his character. And because he has name, form, qualities, he also does some activities, leela. And he is not alone. He has his associates, parikaras. So to hear about them, also his associates. So this is the 5 things which we have to hear. Nam, Roop, Guna, Leela and Parikar. And then he defines what does it mean hearing. So he says hearing means Shabdanam Shrotra Sparsha. That the sound touches your ear, that is called hearing. It is entering your ear, and it's considered as hearing. So that means even if one is not attentive, still it is hearing, especially in this specific case. Evam kirtana smaranayorapi kramo gyeya. So here there is an order. That means you start first with the name, and then the form, and then the qualities, and then associates, and then pastimes. So you hear in that order, not that you first start hearing the last one. So name is the first thing. So even when we meet people, and we introduce first, we speak about the name, right? And then we may speak about the person, the qualities of the person. So therefore it begins with the name. Name is the first thing to be heard, to be known, and then other things follow from that. So same in the material world also we have the same process. We meet somebody, we know about the name, and about the qualities, what the person is doing, activities and so on. So therefore Jiva Goswami says that in case of the Lord also, you begin with the name and then form, qualities, associates and his activities. And the same order is also about Kirtan. In Kirtan also you do first Nam Kirtan, and then you do Kirtan of form, qualities, associates and his pastimes. And same is with the Smaran, remembering. So first there is Nam Smaran. And then Gundam Parikar, then Leela Smaran is the last. So many times people just start with the Leela Smaran. But he does not prescribe it. See, that comes later. He will explain it more. So he says, Evam Kirtan Smaranayorapi Kramoge. That this order must be understood about these three things. About Shravan, Kirtan and Smaran. There is an order. Smaranam Yatkinchin Manasanusandhanam. So he explained what is hearing, and now what is Smaran or recollection or remembering. He says to consider with your mind about the name or about the form, to utilize your mind in some way. That is called Smaran. Then Pada Sevanam, the fifth one is Pada Sevanam. So he says Kala Desh Adi Uchita Paricharya. Pada Sevan also literally means service to the feet. Pada means feet and Sevan means service. But in India there is a custom, which is probably not in other cultures, that when we refer to some person, and instead of using that person's name, we add Pada after that. So we say Jiva Goswami Pada, Rupa Goswami Pada. Pada means that instead of referring to him, we only refer to his feet, but actually we mean the person. So similarly, when it is said Pada Sevanam, it means Krishna Pada Sevanam, service to his feet. Actually it means service to him. Just a way of referencing the person out of respect. So for that reason he says Kala Deshadi Uchita Paricharya. Paricharya means seva, service, which is appropriate according to time and place. Like if you have to do service in the cold season, then what kind of food is to be given? And that you give buttermilk in the cold and ginger tea in the summer. That is not appropriate. Or you put AC in the cold season and heater in the June. So you have to do service according to the time and also according to the place. So therefore it says Kal Deshadi Uchita Paricharya, that is called Pada Sevanam. And then sixth one is Archanam. Archanam is Vishnu Puja, worship of Lord Krishna. That is with the incense, with the ghee lamp, the appropriate as it is described in the Agamas. And Vandanam means Namaskaram, or to bow down physically and also recite some prayers while bowing down. And Dasyam tad dasosmi iti abhimana. Dasya, servitorship, means to have this identity that I am his servant. Then Sakhyam is Bandhu Bhavena Tadiya Hitasamsma. Sakhyam, friendship, means to feel oneself as a friend and then try to think of welfare, that what good you can do for him. And then the last one is Atma Nivedanam. So Atma Nivedanam means offering oneself, and this is Dehadi Shuddha Atma Pariyantasya Sarvato Bhavena Tasmin Nevartanam. So beginning from the physical body and then going inwards, the subtle body, mind, intelligence, material ego, and then the pure Atma. So offering all that to Krishna. Because at present we think that this body is meant for me, it is an instrument for my enjoyment, mind is for me. But actually this is all meant for God and to be used only in His service. Otherwise we become punished by our karma. So that's how we get rid of karma. As long as I think that this body, mind and things related to the body are for my pleasure, then I get karma for that. But when I understand that this everything belongs to Krishna, then I don't have any more karma. That's how you can lead a karma-free life. So it's only a matter of consciousness, this awareness. But that awareness has to be sincere, not just lip service. That we speak like this, I am devotee, I am servant, but I am making all my own plans. Because the original disease of every living being is this prithak bhava, that this feeling that I am different from God. I don't belong to Him, He does not belong to me. And therefore everything is meant for my pleasure, for my enjoyment. But that's not true. Because when I was born, I did not bring anything with me. When I leave, I don't bring anything with me. So how these things which existed before I took birth can be mine? So reality is very clear if we understand our birth and death, our status, our position at the time of birth, what we were, and if you can also imagine what we will be when we are dying. How many things are we going to carry with us? So then the reality becomes very clear. So if we can live our life according to that reality, then we are free from karma. So therefore he says that to offer everything, tasmin eva arpanam, offering all this only to Him, only to God. So that's why in Vedic culture they made this arrangement that even if wife is surrendering to husband, that is considering husband as God, not independently. If you do that independently, then still you are within the field of karma. So when you have this identity very clear, then there is no problem at all. Then you are absolutely free. So he says these are the 9 types of bhakti, Navlakshanani Yasya Sa Bhagavati. And this has to be only in Bhagavan. Tadvishayaka means related with Him. Adha Sakshad Rupa, and it has to be direct. Natu Karmadi Arpan Rupa Parampara. So not in the form of offering our karma. So Jiva Goswami does not accept offering of karma as part of bhakti. So this is what Narada also said, that Naskarmam api achyut bhavavarjitam nashobhate jnanam alam niranjana kuta punah satsvada bhadram iswaracharpitam api akaranam. That even if you offer karma to God, and that also niskam, then it is not bhakti. So therefore the word adha has been used in this verse. Kriyate bhagavati adha, that it has to be directly to Him only. Which means that you have to offer yourself. The activity has to be performed for His pleasure, not that you do activity for your pleasure and then you say, I give it to God now. Krishna arpanamastu. That is good, better than others. That's not bhakti. So bhaktiriyam yatra api Sri Vishnu arpita tadarthame vaidam iti bhavita natu dharma arthadeshu arpita. So this has to be arpita. It's not in the sense of that we offer to Him, but it has to be performed for Him. That is the meaning of arpana. Tadarthame vaidam iti bhavita means your consciousness while performing the activity has to be that I am doing it for Him. You cook your food, everybody eats. So when you cook your food, you can have the feeling that I am cooking it because I am going to eat it. But you can cook it thinking that God will eat it. So this is just a difference in consciousness. The activity is same. So the change is not so much in our actions but in our consciousness. Because action externally may be the same. Those who are devotees or those who are not. So therefore he says that tadarthameva idam iti bhavita natu dharma arthadeshu arpita. Not that it is meant for dharma, artha, or kama, etc. or even for moksha. No. So that's why Rupa Goswami says Gyan Karma Dhyanamritam, that pure devotion, Uttama Bhakti is that which is not having a covering of Gyan or Karma. So that's why the word Andha is used, that is the significance. So he says if it is performed like this, Chet Kriya Tada Tena Kartra Yad Adhitam Tad Uttamam Mandi. He says if a person is acting like this, then I consider that this person has had the best education. This person has understood the purpose of life. This person actually knows what the purpose of my goal, the goal of my existence. Why do I exist? Most people do not know why are they living. What is the life meant for? What am I trying to achieve? Where am I going? So everybody is doing and running around. But what is the aim? So he says that this person, therefore, I consider as well educated. So this is what he told to his father. It's a very bold statement, my little boy. Tathacha Sri Gopal Tapani Shruti. So now he elaborates on this. This is just the meaning of the verses he has given, and now he writes something more. He says in the Gopal Tapani Shruti, Upanishad, Gopal Tapani Upanishad, there is a statement. Bhakti rasya bhajanam tadiha mutro padhi nerashena musmin manah kalpanam eta deva naskarmi. So there bhakti is being defined, and he's showing that how it matches what Prahlad is saying. So first he says is bhaktir asya bhajanam. That bhakti means service. Because the word bhajan does not mean, sometimes now the word bhajan also means singing with harmonium. You say he is doing bhajan. Or sometimes people are doing japa and say he is doing bhajan. So bhajan means seva. Bhajityasa vai dhatu sevayam prakirtita. The word bhajan or bhakti, they both come from the root bhaja, which means to serve. So therefore bhakti or bhajana both mean same. They are synonyms in Sanskrit. So just on one bhaj dhatu you apply ti pratyaya, you got bhakti, or you apply tan pratyaya, you got bhajan. So therefore the Upanishad says bhaktir asya bhajanam. The meaning of the word bhakti is bhajanam, and that has to be done iha amutra upadhi narasyena amusmin manah kalpana. So what actually is service? Because people are doing service anyway. Most people are doing some job somewhere, they go to office. So they are doing service there. And that service is for their own self. They are doing it because they will get their monthly check. So that is not bhakti. Because their mind is not surrendered to the person to whom you are working. So he says, Iha amutra upadhi narasyena amusmin manah kalpana. That to absorb your mind only in God, giving up all upadhis, designations or desires that you want to achieve something here or you want to achieve something after death. Iha means here, amutra means after death. So, iha mutra upadhi narasena amusmin manah kalpanam etadeva naskarmyam. And this is actually called naskarmya, because if you act like this, then you have no karma. Naskarma means now you are free from the law of karma. So bhakti therefore is naturally free from karma. Devotees are naturally free from karma. Because karma sticks to you when you have the sense of doership and enjoyership. That I am the doer, and if you are the doer, then naturally you are also the enjoyer. So karta bhokta. But when you don't have that, then you are liberated. Simple. Very easy. There is nothing which can bind you. Baddha mukta iti gunta mena vastita. Krishna says that this is bound and this is liberated is only by gunas. In reality there is no bondage. It's only because of this consideration that I am the bhokta. So therefore it is called neskarmi, freedom from karma. Atra navalakshana samuchayo na avashyaka. So Jiva Goswami further comments that although these 9 are mentioned, but it is not necessary that you have to do all 9 of them. You can do even 1. That is sufficient. Ekenaiva angena sadhya avyabhichara sharma. So even 1 can make you perfect, because it is understood that people in the past, they became perfect just by hearing him. So some people do more than 1, some people do 1, but it is not that all 9 have to be performed. So that is one thing. Kvachid anya anga misranam tu tathapi bhinna shraddha ruchitva. So he says you can do 1 or you can mix them together according to one's own faith and taste. So some people may like Shravan more than Kirtan, some people may like Kirtan more than Shravan, some people may like worship in the temple, or combine them together, like the example of Ambarish Maharaj is given, that he was performing all of them. So that will vary from person to person. Tato navalakshana shabdena samanyoktya tanmatra anushtanam vidhiyate iti gayam. And then he further says that the 9 types which are described here by Prahlad Maharaj does not limit bhakti only to these 9 types. But this is a general statement, it refers to everything else. Because bhakti can be performed by anything. That's why Rupa Goswami says Anukullena Krishna Anushilnam. So he does not say that you have to perform only these 9 things. He says Anushilan, any activity. Jiva Goswami comments on this verse. He says that Shila iti sarvadhatu grahya, that by the word Shilan, all activities, all verbs are to be accepted. Only thing is that Anukullena Krishna Anusilnam, that has to be there. It has to be favorable and it has to be for Krishna. Or things related with Krishna. Krishna's abode, Krishna's devotees, Krishna's associates, even ornaments he is wearing, anything. It should be in relationship with Krishna. So therefore, these 9 are like the broad categories, but it could be other things which are not stated here. Navlakshanatvam chasyaha anyashamapi anganam tadantar bhavad yuktam. So he says why he has stated 9. He says because all other limbs, they are subsumed in this 9. Because whatever you will do, then it could be either Archanam or Vandanam Pada Sevanam can be part of that. Because could be just service, and that he said Pada Sevanam means service. If you are reading, then it could be part of Sravan. Kinchit Chatra Vishishya Likhyate. So he says, now I write something specific related to this. Tadevam Namadi Shravan Bhakti Anga Krama. So he says that this Krama, the order is important. This order of devotion, which begins with Sravana, that is important, and Sravan should start with the Nam. So that means the first thing is Nam Sravan. Tatra yadyapi ektarena api vyutkramena api siddhir bhakti eva. He says that although you can attain perfection by any one of them, or even by not following the order. He says because every activity here, Shravan, Kirtan, Smaran, they are all independent. You can perform each one of them, and he said it doesn't have to be mixed with others. And then there are examples where people became perfect by doing one of them. So he says, although it is true that you can attain perfection by any one of them and not even following the order, yet it has been stated in this way, so there is a purpose behind it. So he says, Tathapi Prathma Namnaha Shravanam Antaha Karana Shuddhi Artham Apeksha. So it may be true for some people that they can take some other one, but he says in general this order should be followed. Why? Because people do not have clean heart, and therefore hearing the name is very important for cleansing the heart. Because if the heart is not clean, then Smaran is not possible. One wants to do Lila Smaran, suppose. These people do. And Lila Smaran is not possible if one is not pure in the heart. Why? Because if your heart is not pure, means you are under the influence of Rajas and Tamas. So you will sit down to do Lila Smaran, and then you will have Laya and vikshepa. Then your mind will wander here and there, and all kinds of thoughts will come. Or many other problems are there. Kasaya, Rasaswada, Vipratipatti, all types of problems come. So therefore, before one comes to that level, one has to clean the heart. So therefore he specifically says that Shravanam Antakaran Shuddhi Artham Apeksham, that hearing. So hearing is very important. Shuddhe cha antakarane rupa shravanena tad udaya yogyata bhavati. So when your heart is clean, and then you will hear about the form of the Lord, then form can manifest in your heart. But if you hear with an unclean heart, then you don't have the qualification for the form to manifest. So that's why name is necessary. Samyak udite cha rupe gunanam spuranam sampadyate. And when the form will manifest, then the qualities will naturally be known to you. Then you know automatically you will have qualities. And sampanne cha gunanam spuranena parikar vasishtya tad vasishtya. And then when you will have the knowledge about the qualities of the Lord, then you will know about His associates, because He is always with His associates. And His speciality is according to His parikaras, His associates. So then you will know about that. And tatastesu nama rupa guna parikareshu samyaka spuritaeshu lila nam spurnam sustu bhavati iti abhipretya sadhan kramaliti. And then when you will have knowledge and realization of name, form, qualities and associates, then Lord's lila will be revealed to you. and you will naturally become absorbed in that. So he says it is for this purpose that the order has been given here. So why Shravan Kirtan Smaran? This order is given, so it is for this reason. Evam Kirtan Smaranayoscha Gyayam. So he says similarly we have to also understand about Kirtan and Smaran. So first he is only talking about Shravan, that Nam Shravan, Rup Shravan, Gun Shravan. So in the same way you have Nam Kirtan, then Rup Kirtan, then Gun Kirtan, then you have Nam Smaran. So there is order, all of them. Idam cha Shravanam Sri Mahan Mukharitam Tan Mahatmyam Jat Ruchi Nam Param Sukhdam. So he says that this Shravana, this hearing, this also should be performed from qualified people, because it has an influence. So therefore he says Mahan Mukharitam. It has its importance when it is heard from those who are great devotees of the Lord. And if one actually has a taste already developed, then hearing from such people will give great happiness in the heart of such a person. He said Jata Ruchinam Param Sukhnam Tachat Vividham. So he says that this Shravan is also of two types. Mahad Avirbhavitam Mahad Kirtamanam. That you hear something which is composed by great persons, great devotees. Another is that you actually also hear it from them. So you may hear from normal people, but hear something which is composed by great personalities. But you may also hear from the mouth of great personalities which is also composed by great personalities. So therefore it is of two types. Then there are various types of things which you can hear. There are Puranas, there is Bhagavad Gita, there are Upanishads, Samhitas, Stotras. So he says out of all this, what is the best to hear? So he says, Tatrapi Shravane Sri Bhagavat Shravanantu Param Sreshta. That of all the things to hear, the topmost thing which you should hear is Srimad Bhagavatam in this book. Because in the very beginning it was said that Srimad Bhagavate Mahamuni Krite Kimva Parerishvara Sadhyo Hridya Varudhyate Tripratiji Shushru Shudhis Tatakshana. That this Srimad Bhagavatam, this beautiful Bhagavatam was revealed by great sage Ved Vyasa. And what need is there to hear anything else? Kimva Pare. And if one is pure-hearted, as soon as you desire to hear this, then Lord Himself comes and sits in your heart. Because even He wants to hear it. Nigam kalpataror galitam phalam sukamukhanamrita drav sanyitam kibata bhagavatam rasamalayam huraho rasika bhavi bhavako. That you should hear this again and again, because this is the rasa. It's like you like to drink some nice juice, some power drink. So this is the power drink which will give you strength, and you will become intoxicated by this. So it says that you go on drinking till you become unconscious, being intoxicated by the nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam. So alayam means you drop on the floor out of ecstasy. So muhur muhu, again and again. So therefore it says Sri Bhagavat Sravan, because this Bhagavatam is actually God Himself in the form of Shabda, in the sound form. It is just non-different from Krishna. That's why it was said in the beginning that Krishna Swadhama Upagate. Puranavarkodhanodita, that when Krishna left for his own abode, and Bhagavatam came like a sun to give light. Kalau nasta drishamesa, Puranavarkodhanodita, those people who have lost their vision and they are groping in darkness, what is to be done in our life, and this gives the light. So that is the greatness of Bhagavatam, therefore it should be heard regularly. Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Tasya Tadrisha Prabhavamaya Shabdatmakatva. Because the words of Bhagavatam are such that even if you don't understand the meaning of these words of Bhagavatam, they have power in them. Like you take medicine, you don't know what is inside, still it has its effect. So Bhagavatam is like that. That the words, Sanskrit words, the slokas of Bhagavatam, if they are recited, then they have potency in them. Because Sukdev, before he studied Bhagavatam from his father, he was a Brahmavadi. And his father wanted to teach him Bhagavatam, but he left home. Putraiti tanmayata tarvo bhanedutam sarvabhut hridayam muniman tosmi. Vyasadeva was running behind him calling Putra, Putra, O son, please come. Yam pravajantam anupetam apeta krityam dvaipayano katara ajuha. He was calling him, but Sukdev was Brahman, realized for him there was no such thing as father or mother or brother, everything is Brahman, so he didn't respond. But when he heard the Bhagavad slokas, then he came attracted, just like iron becomes attracted to magnet. And he came and he studied this book from his father. He himself says this, that I studied Dwaparado Dhituam, Pitu Dvaipayanadaham. From my own father I studied it. So that shows the power of this, that even a Brahman realized person who was not caring for anybody, who did not know the difference between male and female, he got influenced by the words of Bhagavatam. So Tadiya Leela Krishna Ruchisaram is attracted him. So that's why Jiva Goswami says that these words have that influence, prabhavamaya shabdatmatvat, and parama rasmayatvat, and it is very relishable. It is like ambrosia, that once you get addicted to Bhagavatam, then this is the thing you like so much. So therefore it says this is the one should hear. Atra murtya bhimatyat manah itivan nijabhishthanam adi shravanantu muhur avarnitabham. And as it is said in 11th Canto, labdhanugrahacharya tena sandharasthatudama mahapurusham abhyarchetan murtya bhitayatmana, that one should take diksha from a guru and then take instructions from him and then worship form of the Lord as one likes. So he says that similarly there are so many names of the Lord, but the name which is liked by oneself, one should repeat it again and again. Muhur avarnitabhyam should be repeated regularly. Tatrapi Savasan Mahanubhav Mukhat Sarvasya Sri Krishna Namadi Shravanam Tu Param Bhagya Deva Sampati. So there are various names. There is name of Vishnu, Vaman, Nrsimhadev. He says, but to hear the name of Krishna and to hear it from the mouth of great devotees of the Lord, he says that this happens only to some fortunate people. Only those who are very, very fortunate, then they may get the opportunity to hear the name of Krishna from such people. Why is that? Because tasya purana bhagavatvat. Because Krishna is Swam Bhagavan. Ete chans kala punsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swam Indradi Vyakulam Lokam Vridayanti Yuga Yuga. There are so many avatars of God. Lord Ramchandra, Nrsimhadev, Vamana, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha. But Krishna is Swam Bhagavan. He is not an avatar. He himself is the source of everyone. So to hear about him, because it is in him that the power is manifest maximum. So therefore to hear about him and then to hear from a devotee, says this is supremely fortunate. So it says Param Bhagya Deva Sampadhyate. Evam Sankirtanadishu api anusandhaya. So he says similarly we can also understand about Sankirtan. That you can do Sankirtan, but to do Sankirtan of names which are given by great personalities. So like Lord Chaitanya, he said you should chant Mahamantra because he personally chanted. So when you chant that Mahamantra, and especially if you have that Mahamantra coming in the Parampara, then you have the power of all these people. You get the blessings of all of them. So Krishna is Swam Bhagavan, and then to chant Mahamantra which was spoken by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and then to receive it in the Parampara coming from him, and then to hear it from a devotee. So he says this is supremely wonderful. So that will immediately capture you because of its power. Tatriyat swayam samprati kirtyate tadapi Sri Shukdevadi mahat kirtyat charatvena anusandhaya kirtaniya iti. Now he is giving a very important instruction which generally people don't follow. So he says that if you do kirtan yourself, and it could be kirtan of the name or kirtan of Bhagavatam, then when you do that kirtan, you should always remember that I am doing what the great personalities did. So you should do in the mood of being their follower. So here we have the tradition that when kirtan is done, especially if you do this 24-hour kirtan, then first you invite Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with their associates. There is a kirtan to invite them. And then you do kirtan as if they are doing and you are actually following. So that is the meaning of anuga, that's why it is called raganuga. So if we are doing Bhagavatam, if we are speaking on Bhagavatam, then we have to keep this in mind that actually Sukadeva Goswami spoke this and we are just repeating his words. Or people like Jiva Goswami, they have commented and we are reading their words. So we have to keep this in mind, then we get their power. So in other words, we have to make our heart one with them. That is the meaning of anuga, being a follower. So then the message flows to you. Then you become actually situated with it. You can internalize this message. That is the purpose. That I internalize the name of Bhagavatam with me. It is part of my life and I am for it. So that's what Raganuga Bhakti is. In Vadi Bhakti you do independently. But why Raganuga is considered as superior? Because here you are following in the previous Mahanubhavas, previous Parampara. So therefore this is a very important statement to say that what Samprati, Swayam Samprati Kirtyate, that if you are doing Kirtan now yourself, then that's good, because we cannot get the great fortune to hear from great personalities all the time. So what are we going to do other time? Should we not do Kirtan? Then no, you do Kirtan. But do with this mood. So Sri Sukdevadi Mahat Kirtita Charatvena Anusandhana. So keeping this in mind. So that's why we do Mangalacharan in the beginning. To remember to give respect to them and to have that actually I'm speaking by their grace. Tadevam Sravanam Darshitam. So he says in this way, I have explained Shravana, hearing. Asya Kirtanaditaha Purvatvam Tadvina Tattadagyanat. So he says why Shravana is stated, hearing is stated before Kirtan or reciting or glorifying. He says because to do Kirtan you have to first hear. Because Kirtan means singing or reciting the name or whatever, but if you have not heard, how you will do it? So therefore first Shravan, then Kirtan. विशेषतश्च यदि साक्षादेव महत्कृतस्य कीर्तनस्य श्रवण भाग्यं संपद्यते तदेव स्वयं पृथक् कीर्तनीयम् इति तत्प्राधान्यम्. So he says that specifically if one gets the opportunity and good fortune to hear Kirtan from a great devotee of the Lord, then you can do Kirtan afterwards, keeping that in the mind. Evameva uktam tad vaga visarga ityado tika kridhi. He says that there is this famous sloka spoken by Sri Narada in the first canto, 5th chapter, while he is instructing to Vyasa tad vaga visargo janataga viplavo yasman pratislokam abadhavatyapi namani anantasya uttani Ichinvanti gayanti grananti sadhava. So he says that the name, first he says Srinvanti, Gayanti, Grananti, that they hear, then they sing. So he says Yat Yani Namani Vaktri Sati Srinvanti Srotri Sati Grananti Anyadatu Swayameva Gayanti. So if there is someone to speak, then you listen. And if there is someone to listen to you, then you speak. And if there is no one, then you just do it yourself. So 3 are said, Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Grinanti. So they listen. If you have opportunity to hear, then you hear. And if you have opportunity to recite, then you recite. And if you don't have that, then you do it yourself. So, but that should be done in remembering the great personality. That's the point. Athata Kirtanam. So this was about hearing. And then Kirtan. Tatra Purvat Namadi Kramogeya. So he says same order. Nam Kirtan, Gun Kirtan, Rup Kirtan, Lila Kirtan, like that. So first is Nam Kirtan. Nam Kirtanam Chaidam Uchchaireva Prasastam. So Nam Kirtan should be done loudly with musical instruments. As it is said, Namani Ananta Sahatatrapa Patham. Also from the life history of Narada, that he was singing the names of the Lord without any concern for anyone. Atha tatopdishtam Kalyuga Pavanavatarena Sri Bhagavata. And Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came to purify the people of Kalyuga, he himself said, he gave the formula how the name has to be chanted. He says, Tranadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Titikshuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadari. That one should consider oneself lower than blade of grass and should be more tolerant than a tree and have no desire to get respect from others and should give respects to others. In this mood one can always do Kirtan of Lord Hari. So itiyam cha kirtanakhya bhaktir bhagavato dravya jati guna kriya din janaik vishaya apar karuna mayi iti shruti puranadi vishruti. So why kirtan has been specifically prescribed for Kali Yuga? It was not that kirtan did not exist before. It says in Kali Yuga people don't have any ability to do any tapasya. Little hot, then we are finished. Little cold, then also we are finished. And we are thinking to run away from this place. We saw Hiranyakasipu, such a big demon. He was standing on his toe for thousands of years looking up without eating, only on air. Heat, cold, not doing it. So now no one can do like that. Meditation also not possible. Mind is very flickering. So therefore the only thing you can do is kirtan. So that's why it is prescribed for Kali. He says that dravya jati gun kriya. If you want to do yajna, you need all types of dravya ingredients which are not available. Then you have to be born in varnashrama jati. And you have to have guna, those good qualities, they are all missing. And then the kriya, the action of doing yajna, you have to study Purnimansa, very difficult subject. So kirtan, very simple, anybody can do. So he said, Janaika Vishaya Apar Karunamaya. And this is the grace, supreme grace. That's why Kali Yuga is glorious of all the yugas. Although we say Kali Yuga is full of problems. Kaler dosh nidhe rajanasti hi eko mahan kirtanadevi krishnasya mukta sangha parabraya. This is the mine of bad qualities, this Kali Yuga. But it has got one very wonderful quality. Kirtanadevi krishnasya. Just do Krishna kirtan and you will become free from all impurities, bondages, and you will attain the Supreme. So this is Jiva Goswami's explanation. Is there any question on this?
Question. What about reading the scriptures? What about reading the scripture, the Srimad Bhagavatam?
Yeah, that is part of Shravanam.